Now, on today's show, we're going to be talking about why word of mouth is so important. It's an expression you may hear repeatedly these days. I mean, I suppose for a long time people kind of associated with networking, but word of mouth is becoming increasingly more and more important. Joining me in the studio today is Graham Wilson. He's a business coach and clinical hypnotherapist. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about word of mouth and why it could benefit your business and why it's going to help you get your message out there.
Word of mouth is where everything happens. Word of mouth is the real world. And, you know, despite the recent changes over the years to more, we're living in digital, we're living in what appears to be this social world. But the reality is 80% of all decisions are still made in the real world by people talking. We need to start putting money, thought and time behind word of mouth from a marketing perspective. In the message, in a sales perspective, we then need to think about how people literally engage with us, how they connect with us, and there are ways of doing that, methods. And then afterwards, of course, it becomes like after sales. We've got to have that connection and involvement longer term with people if we're going to retain them, and more importantly, get them to talk about the fantastic experience they had with our service or our product. This whole word of mouth that works program that we're now working on came out of nearly 20 years of work from Jake Pierce. Now, Jake's an anthropologist, he's a psychologist from Oxford, he's a branding expert, he became a semiotics expert, which is, you know, a next level of guruship, if you like. And he had a fascination about, of all the marketing methodologies that we have, this whole thing about word of mouth. Now, you've rightly said people talk. It all happens in the real world. 80% of it happens, you know, and 90% of us trust a friend, but only 8% of us trust an advert. So this trust is a big issue, and how we do it. There's a process to word of mouth. I mean, Jonah Berger wrote an excellent book called Contagion, and he said, you know, it being viral or getting viral, it's not just about talking. There's a process, there's a recipe, if you like, to it. So you need to understand who your customers are, very important. And there's methodologies, and there's actually hard work to do in actually finding out who your customers are, because the problem is we think often, don't we, in business, we think this is a great idea. We do market research, which has its limitations, because we know if you actually pay people for market research and answers, you get what you pay for. So word of mouth really needs to be a part of the culture of an organization. You have to say, do we really want to connect with our customers? Because the program we talk about is the exposure to the product, then the experience of the product, then involvement with the product and connection. And most people never get beyond exposure and experience. They don't involve the right people. And that's where we fall down with customers. Thank you, I'm Graham Wilson. Today I'm really here on behalf of word of mouth that works. Why? Well, it's important, and please go to our website and have a look, because everybody will tell you, and we all know, that word of mouth is probably the most successful way you can ever promote and grow your business. The problem we've had and we've discussed today is that people think it just happens. People think just talking does it. Well, it doesn't. And we've had over 20 years of working on this and looking at all the evidence. And there is a method, there's a process, a recipe to word of mouth, which is why I have these little chaps here, because you've got to prepare for a marathon. There's a lot of work to do to understand how to make it work for you. But if it does, and it becomes a part of your culture, it's immensely powerful. It will give you not only advocates that talk about your customers that grow, but it also will give you ideas for new products and growth, ideas that you probably wouldn't come across in any other way. So it should become a part of your marketing mix, a part of the way you do business. And we talked earlier about referrals as well, is you need to get that referral right, because if you don't control the message out there, people will make it up. So learn how to control, learn the process, and come and join us, come and have a look. We'll teach you how to do it.